My name is Rubin Singh. Thank you all for giving me this opportunity. Thank you to the organizers, administrators, producing SYANA for creating this environment that has helped so many of us learn and reflect for many, many years. We're going to do a Gurmat workshop today. I have no PowerPoints for this. I have nothing actually except the shovel. So it's gonna be basically a interactive workshop. We're going to break off into groups. We're limited on time, so I'm going to ask you to, not right now, but you're going to break off into the same groups you were in yesterday. We're going to spend a few minutes going through a shovel, and then we have an activity planned after that. So I won't get into too much else, but let's go ahead and break off into groups. So it was 1 through 5, if you remember. I guess just go to wherever the familiar faces are from where you were. Same places as yesterday. The lead bench is going to be passing out a shovel. So let's all pay attention so we can just do this all real quick. Everybody pay attention for just 1 second. I'll just talk for 10 seconds and then you can be back on your own. What you're going to see is a shovel that looks like this. It's 2 pages. And it's going to be passed around. And I'm going to assign each group which 2 lines that they're going to focus on. If you can translate the whole shovel, great. But if not, just focus on the lines that I assigned to you. You'll notice that it has the Gurmat key. It has the transliteration, and then the 3rd column is blank. And what I want you to do is try your best to translate each word in your group. Please, translate each line, each word in your group. And then if you can come up with the meaning of those lines, great. And if you are able to finish yours, then you can move on to the other lines if you'd like to. So far, make sense? Make sense? Yes. Here's one rule. Please, for now, do not use your phone or anything else. Just use the resources of the people in front of you. And like I always say, if you cheat on Gurmat, you've got bigger problems. So, and we're going to spend only about 10 minutes on this. So please get started. Thank you. Now, really good discussion I've been hearing. So I'm going to go around each table, and I'm going to ask each table to come up with whatever they came up with. So I passed around the answer key, but keep in mind that answer key, like any translation, it is a translation. It is not the translation. That's why I wanted you to come up with your own first. But for those who are just completely stuck, I wanted at least to have some clues available. So don't feel that you have to stick with the words that is in that answer key. The better thing is to come up with your own words that expresses what you came up with. So we'll go around the group. I want everybody to hear, because most of you have been focusing on your own pieces. So let's see if we can put this all together. No, you just do the.
So we got sleep remaining God. Sure. Soye rahi prab khabar jani aur paya aur pashhtani, and we got sleep remaining, the news of God, not knowing. Dawn came and there was a lot of regretting or regret.
So put that into your own words, what that meant.
So we decided it was kind of like that the person was in a state of sleep overnight, and then they didn't really try to inquire about God the way you kind of would about like a family member or something, if they were in trouble or something. Not that God is in trouble or anything. And then the evening, or like the morning came, the dawn, and the person regretted having not tried to inquire about the news, and there was a lot of regret.
Okay, very good. Questions, thoughts on that? So she remains asleep and didn't care about the news of God, didn't care about the news of Waheguru. And then awoke in the dawn, feeling this sense of regret. Make sense? All right, next group, you all come up with it.
We all know either Sunita or Tableen Kaur can end up with mine. In the rear.
That's a lot of effort and put a whole life. It is, so... Yeah, okay, so Rhea is beloved, Rain is love, Sanaj is contentment or inner peace, Man is mind, Anand is celestial bliss, Taro is filled, Ri is just addressing hey you. Prab is Vaidru, Midway is to meet, Gi is up, Lalasa is yearning or desire, Dante is so then, Alis, laziness, Kahan, why, Garo, do, Ri, hey you, and Rahav is pause. So collectively, we came to this translation. The love of my beloved has filled my mind with contentment and celestial bliss. I have such a yearning to meet Vaiduru. Why am I so lazy?
Okay, very good. So I have this. So I have this love and this contentment for towards Waheguru, and I want to meet him. I want to meet him. Why am I delaying? Why am I waiting? Where does this lead?
Our lines were Kar Meh Amrit Khan Sario Kisar Gayo Om Paradario. What we got from that was the Amrit was poured into our hands. Like, it was like we were being lazy, but still it was being poured into our hands. And let us assume it was our laziness or our carelessness that it slipped out of our hands onto the ground. Like that's why we say Kisar Gayo Om Paradario.
So let's see how this went. It started off, she remains asleep, unaware, not caring about the news of Waheguru. And then she wakes up regretful. But I know that Waheguru brings me all this happiness. Why am I delaying? He has poured the Amrit in my hand, and I let it slip away. Through my fingers onto the ground.
So we interpreted the lines, Saad mohe ladi ahakare, dos nahi prab karne hare. Initially we thought mohe was me, but we found out that it was attachment, and so Saad is taste, mohe attachment, ladi overwhelmed or full of something, ahankare ego or pride, dos is blame, nahi no, prab Vaheguru and karne hare is the creator or the one who does all everything. So we got that. That I am so overwhelmed with this taste and the desires such as taste, attachment that lead me to have this ego, and it's my own fault because I can't put the blame on the creator, the one who has created me and all these devices too.
Very good. I'm burdened with all this Kaan, Krodh, Lobh, Ahankara, and with this attachment, with this ego. Don't blame him. It's not the fault of the Creator.
So our group was doing the last two sections. Saad Sang Par Hare, Nanak Meli Sirjan Hare. So for Saad Sang, we interpret that as in the Sangat of the Guru, and then Mite, to erase or eradicate, Param, confusions or doubts, Andhare, darkness, Nanak, O Nanak, Meli, has met, Sirjan Hare, the creator. So the overall meaning is in the Sangat of the Guru, the confusion of darkness is erased or eradicated. And O Nanak, she has met the Creator.
Met and merged, right. Very good. All those translations were excellent. And so I want to, this is sort of the beauty of Varni, is that in these 10 lines or so, Guru Sahib shares in his experience the challenge, why the challenge, and then the solution. So let's all just take a second to just stop, pause, stay still. And I'm just going to read it beginning to the end. And I want you to think. Close your eyes if you want to. Don't if you don't want to, that's fine. I just want you to think and reflect on this Shabad from beginning to end. Asa Mahalla Panjram. Soye rahi kab khabar na jaan. She remains asleep and does not know or care of the news of Waheguru. Aur paya bahar pachutani. The day dawns and then she regrets. Priya prem sahaj man anand tarori. Loving the beloved Waheguru. The mind is filled with contentment and bliss. Prab milbay ki lalasa paate alis kaha karori kaha. You yearn to meet with him, so why do you delay? Gurmat amrit an nisaryo. He came and poured his amrit into your hands. Kisar viro pum partaryo. But it slipped through your fingers and fell onto the ground. Saad mo ladi ankare. You are burdened with desire, emotional attachment, and ego. Dos nahi prab karne hai. It's not his fault. It is not the fault of the Creator. Saad sang mate param andare. In the Saad sang, the company of the holy, the darkness of doubt is dispelled. Nanak melisa sirjan hai. Nanak, the Creator, blends him with himself. Anybody here heard this Shabad before? A little less than half. What do you think? Is there any just immediate thoughts, reflections on this particular Shabad? Is there one line, 2 lines, anything that resonated with you? Anybody?
Actually, I meant to say this yesterday, but it relates equally as well to the Shabad, which is that the Shabad Jasipanji went over in her workshop, and this one are speaking from the feminine perspective, which I think is doubly significant given that women's presence, let alone women's voice, let alone their presence in Gurbani was not, or in text and poetry, anything wasn't really common and still isn't. And even in yesterday's translations, even though the Shabad is through the feminine perspective, what we were seeing written down on the screen was all from the male perspective. But similarly here, it's from the feminine perspective. So I think I would urge my brothers here especially to think about that as you're reading the Shabad out loud, as you're hearing it. Males also have to put themselves in that perspective, not as a sign of subservience to male figures, but also if the Guru's done that, it must be significant, and we shouldn't ignore that.
Good call.
Guru Sahib says in this Shabad that we are in a sleeping mode, and until we awake, we cannot connect with the Vaheguru. And Guru Sahib gives us the solution that it's only through Sangat that we can connect with the word of Guru Shabad to awaken us. And only when we are awake, then we can know what's happening around us, where we are, and how we can improve ourselves. And Guru Sahib has given the path through Shabad, and to put it into practice, Guru Sahib has given us the pillar of Sangat. So both go together to awaken our mind and keep us on the right path.
Very good, thank you.
I think the Shabad is written in first person by Guru Sahib. And I find it amazing that when I read this and I think about Guru Sahib is saying this as the person experiencing this in the Shabad, that if our Guru is saying that he, or it's written in feminine, but it's written as first person, he or she has let Naam slip away, has let the thought of Vaheguru slip away, then if our Guru is saying this, then what are we? What am I in comparison to that? I must be 100,000 times even further from that.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because this is not a show that I had studied for a long time or done many workshops on. I've done it once before. But we were sitting in Gurmat on a Friday night. This show, if I stop saying it. I never heard it before. And I remember looking at the Sikhi to the Max translations real quick. And this Shabad, these two lines right here just shook me. The one that Paul just brought up. Gurmat Amrit An and Saryo. He came and poured his Amrit into your hands. But it slipped away. It slipped through your fingers and onto the ground. And I couldn't stop looking at it. I couldn't stop thinking about it. And then when I heard that the theme of this retreat was about the relationship between the Sikh and the Guru, that was my most recent dialogue with the Guru. And I started thinking. It reminded me of a moment shortly after I had taken Amrit, and I was working on my Amrit film. I struggled a lot, still do. And I was reminded of this moment where I was in college and I said, I'm going to wake up at 4:30. I set my alarm. I went to sleep early. I did all the right things to wake up at 4:30. And I went to sleep, and without the alarm turning on, at 4:25, I woke up on my own. This is not something I did on a regular basis. But at 4:25, magically, I woke up. And guess what I did? I went right back to sleep. Because I was lazy. And I never forget that moment when Guru Sahib gave me his blessing. He gave me his strength. I stand in front of Guru Sahib and ask for his strength. I ask for him to give me the power and the courage to give the effort. And he gave it to me. And I let it slip away. And this is just one example. There's many examples I can say about my own life where I've done the same thing. But this was a moment where the Shabad connected with me. And perhaps, maybe, hopefully I'm not alone here, that maybe there's a time or two you can think where this Shabad came alive to you. Maybe? Possibly? And that's what we're going to figure out. So, here's what we're going to do. I want you all to come up with a short 5-minute skit depicting this Shabad in a real-life scenario. So, I'd like for you to use everybody in your group and come up with a 3 to 5 minute, I'll say 3 to 5 minute skit using everybody in your group, depicting some aspect of this Shabad. Okay? I'm not going to give you any of the rules. It's going to be 3 to 5 minutes long. Use everybody in your group. I will say that this group, that this Sangha has stepped up the bar as far as creativity goes from last year. So I really hope it's creative and really powerful. Think about it for a few minutes before you start acting. And you have like 15 minutes to do it. Questions?
How long?
15 minutes to come up with it. And it's a 3 to 5 minute skit. Questions? Can you use your phones? Sure.
Bridget, they're asking 1-5 or 5-0?
1-5, 15 minutes. You can focus on one aspect of the Shabad, or you can focus on the whole Shabad, whatever you want to do. Guys, let's come. So I know there's never enough time for this to prepare, but let's all have a seat. Let's all have a seat, everybody. So be real tight to get all these together. Just to get that going quickly. All right. And so every group had a prop, and so theirs was the board. Art class, so the last few days we've been talking. Art class, the last few days we've been talking about the really complicated subject of arithmetic. And we're going to do some review now, so we're going to talk about adding. So we're going to start with something pretty easy, I think, hopefully. So can anyone tell me the answer to this question here?
It's 2.
Yes, good job. We're getting somewhere here. All right, now I'm going to up the ante a little bit and try something a little bit harder. All right, how about this? Throw in there. I think you can do this one.
21.
Not quite, man. Anyone else? All right, how about you?
19.
Yes. All right, I think you guys are set. I think we got this. All right, so that was enough for today. Go home and review these answers if you can, and we'll talk about subtraction next time. All right, class dismissed. Have fun at recess. Hey, Rubin, can I talk to you? So I noticed, you know, I said it was a complicated subject, but it's actually not that hard. And I tried to ask you that question here. Your two classmates over here, they really seemed to, they were paying attention, they knew what they were doing. But you, you weren't paying attention, you were texting, you were playing football with these groups here, don't get into that company like that. So, I'm available all the time, I have a lot of time so I can, spend time with you and go over this subject with you if you want.
I have a football game tomorrow and a video game tournament tonight. And I have recess right now, so.
Well, it's your life. You can, whatever your priorities are. But I'm always here for you. So.
Hi, Singh. How's your day at school today? Have something to eat first.
I think I failed my test.
Huh? What? What'd you say? Say it again? Say it again?
But the teacher doesn't like me, so, and he always picks on me in class.
Rubin Singh, there's this Punjabi phrase, Utta chor potwal padante. You need to think for yourself that when you're pointing finger at somebody else, where are the other fingers pointing? Towards you, right? So maybe it might be a good idea to find people who are in class who are doing a good job and follow their something instead.
Sad sang mite param andare, Nanak meli sirjanhare.
Yeah, I was struggling in arithmetic class. I don't know what 9 plus 10 is. So can you guys help me, help study with me? Can we create a study group so I can get stronger at arithmetic skills?
We have a study group after school, so you can join us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.
All right, great job. You guys can offer any commentary if you like. It's also pretty self-explanatory. That was very good.
Exactly.
Good job. Excellent, excellent. Okay, who wants to go next? Any volunteers? All right, very good.
Good job.
One more.
Good job. Can you do this? I gotta set up
Alsia, what's that? Paper, padna hai, what?
Oh no! I have an exam today! Why did I stay up all night playing Xbox? I'm so lazy!
Yesterday,
All right, class. You have an exam tomorrow. I hope you all do well. I know you will. I've given you plenty of instruction, and you should have taken good notes. If you want to do well on the exam, I suggest you use the study guide. Okay, so here's a copy of the study guide for all of you.
Yes.
Use.
It's going to be so easy.
I guarantee if you use this,
What?
you'll do well.
That guy's going to fail. After the exam.
Well, here are your exams. Most of you did really well. We'll just pretend I'm taking your exam. With a few exceptions, most of you did pretty well.
Dude, why you failed?
I don't know. It's probably all my fault. I should have studied harder. What am I going to do now?
Hey, Alice. I know you didn't do well, but there's going to be a study group meeting a little bit later tomorrow. I know if you join them, you'll be able to pass the makeup exam and do it really well. So I highly suggest you join the study group and do that.
Thanks, Teach.
Bye.
Very good.
I think you're going to have a lot of friends.
Did anybody not do a classroom exercise? Yeah.
They had a really good
What's the problem then?
We're all such nerds. Like, we talk about it.
I just need something to type on.
Where's the adapter?
Here.
You guys should go after.
Okay, you know what? Someone else will be able to set up.
Okay, we're going to have another group go instead. We're going to have any volunteers? Any group want to go? All right.
Wow, unprepared. Interview, man. First you guys talk all through other people's skits and now you're not even ready. Who's leading you through this anti-Gurmat activities? Hey, don't sit there, dude. Don't sit there, dude. Hey, Manveer. Manveer, can you just scoot over here? Gurnuar. Gurnuar. Ette baijo, yeah.
Second line.
Oh, my Benji has it.
Puneet Singh. Minchant Singh. Minchant Singh. Are you in here? Okay.
I am calm. Lust.
She's so pretty. All I ever think about is her.
I am growth.
I'm so mad. I lost 13 seconds off my PR time.
I am low.
I want that nice car so badly. I really want it.
I am Mo.
Oh, I love my old car. You know, it drives me places. All the experiences.
I am ego.
Did you see how many reps I did at the gym last night? Yeah.
साध मोहिलाती अहंकारे साध मोहिलाती अहंकारे दोष नहीं प्रभ करने हारे दोष नहीं प्रभ करने हारे
I am Nimrata. You will be humble.
Thank you.
I'm saying dog.
Oh, that feels so much better.
I am there. You will be passionate.
You're too kind.
I am such. You will start living fruitful life.
Really? She's amazing.
I am Pyar. You will love everyone.
I love you.
सोए रही प्रभ खबर न जानी, सोए रही प्रभ खबर न जानी, पोर पया बोहर पछतानी, पोर पया बोहर पछतानी, प्रिय प्रेम सहज मन अनद तरोरी, प्रभ मिलबे की दाल सा, ताते आलस कहाँ करोरी, कर में अमृत आड़ निसारियो, खिसर गयो पछतारियो, साध मोहे लादी अहंकारे, दोष नहीं प्रभ करने हारे, साध संग मिटे परम धारे, नानक मेली सिरजन हारे, साध संग मिटे परम धारे, नानक मेली सिरजन हारे।
वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा, वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह।
Sing.
That was amazing. Awesome job. We have 2 more.
Yeah. Hold on. Why is it so complicated? She can't. Just look up there, Singh. Who's? Serena part. Part of it. What did she have? Somebody saw the film. No, she wrote something else first. There has to be something you can create of your group.
All right.
She's the one that had the idea of what's right. Wait, guys, just can we go this way? Give the people, I mean, just make sure that you guys are like performing here. It doesn't keep a battery charged. I mean, help me get this longer.
सोए रही प्रभ खबर न जानी और पया बहुर पछतानी प्रेम प्रेम सहज मन अनितर औरी प्रभ मिल बेखी लालसा ताते आलस कहाँ करोरी धाव. So how are we going to do this skit, guys?
Well, shouldn't you finish the rest of the Shabbat?
I
thought we were going to try to...
That was a good idea.
No, I think let's just let's just act out like actually like we can just do it as a surprise like how
Are we going to do like a part of the Shabbat, or are we going to...
Well, I thought we were going to incorporate the whole
Hey, where's
Shabbat.
Ricky anyway?
Or did you want to do like the end?
Yeah.
Are we getting anywhere yet?
Way to go showing up in the middle.
I had to go to the bathroom.
No, but I'm not sure. What did we decide about the last line? Did we decide what we wanted to do with the sods and what would like?
I don't know. We're going to take everybody. Come on, no.
You guys are too complicated.
Whatever we want. Haven't talked. All right. I don't know. We're just going to do our own thing. All right.
Alright, what do you Sorry to interrupt, guys. We added a new thing to this where you have to have a prop. So you can
I don't know what the prop is. Alright, come in.
Wait, no! We didn't go for the sweater!
Guys, I thought this was about something you had to come up with a consensus.
Oh, whatever. We can incorporate that, like trying to pretend we're serving jar or something.
Yeah.
You could just be holding it. You could, the way you came in. No, we could totally do this in the skit. Like when you came in, you could be holding the cup. And
It looks like we got this like idea here. We can just use like, you know, the...
Maybe we should we already have it.
We're running out of time and we're not going to have anything.
I don't know.
You don't want to regret.
Are we doing?
I don't want to make this thing a lot of
No, yeah, this is fun.
Guys, let's make
Okay, guys, there's only 5 minutes left.
Do the distraction where we're distracted. Like the Amrit goes through our hands and...
I still really like the idea of using Rubin 12-energy story for our skit. Yeah, using a story.
Oh, like no,
4:30 the alarm clock.
I'll stand in the back and be like, tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock.
And then you can just smack you and snooze you. I still think that...
Okay, guys, time's up. We're going to have to go in so we have enough time to have all the presentations.
Yeah. We didn't even get done.
Wait. Actually, we did it together, and I think we got our skit together, so we completed it.
Oh, okay, well, we'll go with that. Yeah, we'll go.
Okay. Why did you go?
Do you do a thing where this is based on a true story, but extremely, not loosely based on a story? But even you guys could have done the Chris Farley. You'd been like, just got up there and been, do you guys remember that one time where we couldn't come up with a skit?
That was weird, but that was good. I'm still processing. Good. So so that was awesome. You guys did a great job. You guys did a great job. So I want to just open this up for a few minutes. What are your thoughts? Like from going through the show earlier to preparing your skit to watching the skits. Any thoughts? Any thoughts, reflections? Anything? Anything you'd like to share? What's that? Open reflection. Any reflection on any of the activities we've done on this workshop? Anything you'd like to share?
Just for this one?
Sure.
I kind of enjoyed it because just like seeing other people's perspectives on like the show and like how they interpret it. Oh, okay. Just like seeing other people's interpretations on how they like see it in like their own mindset and to act it out and see like these different types of ways that we can like understand the show and like really relate to it. I thought it was just interesting.
Yeah, I picked up on the same thing. Like almost very few of the groups did the same thing. I mean, even some of them had very different concepts, but we're all talking about the same show. So it sort of connected folks with the show in different ways. I wasn't expecting to see that in such diversity. That was great. Other thoughts? Anything that came up in your group's discussion when you were preparing for this? Any struggles you had trying to put this together?
At one point when we were talking about how this Shabbat relates to us personally, one of the points was that it really only hits you with as much intensity as we felt after having made a mistake. It's when it really hits you. So even that process of going through a transgression of any kind is very positive in Shabbat. That, you know, yeah.
And then to add on to that, something that I struggle with a lot when I'm reading Bani is this idea of feeling guilty or being super self-critical of where I am. And I think this relationship with the struggle that we have is something that we should always keep, or I try and keep at the top of my mind, and how the high standards that we hold ourselves to is a goal, but the journey is super important. So just adding on to that.
I think what helps me with that guilt point that you brought up is, you know, as was brought up earlier, Gurusav likes this Shabbat in the first person. And so, you know, there's Shabbats I read personally that some resonate with me, some don't, and maybe I'm just not at the stage, but these Shabbats where Gurusav is reflecting on his own struggle, personally, I connect with those most because I'm in the struggling stage, I guess. And so I think that, for me, it helps me at least, to know that Gurusav went through this experience. Not only did he go through this experience and had the courage to share it, but also gave us the solution. And that's, you know, I remember many years ago, we worked at a Gurmat camp for kids, and we did these Gurmani type exercises. And I kept stressing this, that, well, there's always an answer in the Shabbat, you just got to find it. And I remember once it was, you know, being with Sal Sabbat or reflecting on reciting Nam, whatever. I remember one of the kids saying, it's always the same answer. and it is. You know, it's these handful of same answers that we keep finding our way back to. And Guru Sahib is finding all these creative ways to bring us back to these same answers. But yeah, so what else? Any other thoughts? You know, your own thoughts on the show, or anything you'd like to share? Yeah.
I really love the information that you guys came up with that there was a counterpart of each vice, and sometimes when we're looking at like our Sangha or our friends, when we think of them, the Sadh Sangha, right, we think of perfection, like Sangeeta Benji brought up earlier, that we always look for this perfection and we don't understand that sometimes there isn't. So instead of like negating entirely a person because they have one flaw, there is something, like even one attribute to pick up from our friends or our Sangha that we surround ourselves with. So even if it's just one attribute, one person is really kind and maybe they have other flaws and we are lacking that kindness, is that something we can pick up from them. So that really hit me, that it doesn't need to be a full package. It can be like a different attributes or different people that we surround ourselves with that can change our life.
That's very, very insightful. You know, we often, they say, throw the baby out with the bathwater. We see this person who follows a slightly different version of the Maryada than we follow, and we throw them out. But is there something we can take from them? Or somebody who doesn't, you know, follow Maryada completely? Is there something that we can glean from this relationship that can help us on our own path? And it takes some element of letting go of our baggage and our ego in order for us to accept that.
As I'm hearing all of these responses, my mind is just kind of going backwards to that self-love for yourself. We often talk about our commitment to our guru or our relationship with our guru, but that's in another way is our relationship with ourselves. And oftentimes it's easy to, you know, do something for another person or another thing, but when it comes to doing something for ourselves, we kind of put it on the back burner, right? So just going back over there to what Benji was talking about, just finding that and accountability for yourself, and then even going here and try to negate that, but it's more so try to do things out of love for us because we have love for us, right?
Good, thank you for sharing. Good. Anybody else? Good. Anybody else like to share?
I think the main thing that I got from the Shabbat is the idea that don't waste any opportunity, don't waste any moment. Brings other Shabbats to mind. Dam dam sada samaldas, dam na birta jai. You know, a Gursic person is going to take care of every single breath. They don't let a single breath go to waste. They iktil prabhuna visre jan sab kichhi vinaram. You know, every single moment, every single breath, every single second, concentrating on the Creator. I mean, and in some other Shabbats, Guru Sahib even breaks down, literally breaks down the clock into, you know, minutes, seconds, even fractions of a second. You know, like that's how deep that connection is. And I think that's something you have to build. You know, here clearly there's this longing for that connection, and then there's this feeling of I'm wasting opportunity. And actually, our skit, as silly as it was, really was reflective of the fact that until you actually concentrate and get to work, you're just wasting time. This distraction comes up, that person says this, nobody's agreeing. You keep talking, everybody's, you know, talking their own ideas, and nobody's kind of getting to the work, and nothing gets done. Before you know it, time's up. So, you know, I think that really, you know.
That's where I thought you guys were going with that. This is very helpful. Thank you.
I think just also kind of to add on to that a little bit, like what's humbling because it is written in kind of that first person style though, is that or what I feel like I learned from the Guru is that the Guru realizes that these are wasted times, and maybe like I don't realize all the time when I'm wasting time, like in that skit where they're just trying to put the play together in cans and they're having their infighting, not even realizing. And that's like the difference between like the Sikh and the Guru even, is that the Guru has realized that these are missed moments, but the Sikh does sometimes, like when we get hit by it, but not all the time do we realize. And it's humbling to know why making this relationship with the Guru is important, or the satsang is important, because it lets you see that there are these missed moments and have that idea.
It's funny because I always, as a kid, looked at birthdays as such this great thing that I celebrate every year, and it's like, I notice as I get older, it's like the clock is ticking. You know, those birthdays are just reminders. You know, where were you last year? Where are you now? What's the change? The clock is ticking.
I want to put here. Ande kammi and man, ande tan man ande tan chikkad laiye kya diye jaan kutta patthar band. बंद टुटा बेड़ी नहीं ना तो लहा ना हाथ नानक सच्चे नाम बिन कहते टुके साथ. So in this Shabad Guru Sahib is saying that if you cannot see, then you cannot do anything. So you need to be able to see first. And the other thing Guru Sahib is saying is that if a flood is coming and you are not awake, you are sleeping, then also you cannot do anything to stop and you cannot save yourself. One kutta bedi nahi na to laha na haat. And in order to save yourself or get across, you need to get awakened, and also you need to have a solution. That Guru Sahib is giving last line, Nanak Sache Naam Bin Kete Tuke Saath. So you need to have a Guru that can take you from sleeping mode into awakeness and also show you the path, which is the theme of this workshop, I think. That Guru has given us the Shabad and the Sangat to put that Shabad into practice so that we can challenge and dispel the darkness in our life.
You know, thank you for sharing that. Sometimes, like many of you, I have this sort of race, you know, how much of it is in our control and how much of it comes from the Guru, and this race discussion, this gitwa, you know, is it something we have or something we get? And I remember like having this conversation, I go back and forth on this, but I remember having this conversation once with myself locally, and you know, he made some comment, you know, and I was talking about some struggles, and I said, oh, well, you know, all I need is Waheguru's Kirpa. You know, and he said to me something that stuck in my mind. He said, what Kirpa are you waiting for? Waheguru has, you've been given intellect, you've been given something, you've been given mind, you've been given every support structure you're looking for. What are you waiting for? And so it just reminded me when you said that, you know, it's just, like we have all of this. You know, look at what we have at our disposal to help move us forward. It's about taking that step, awakening ourselves and taking that step. The last comment, and then we'll move on.
So, do you know when Jade Smith tells us that joke about the guy that's on his boat that prays to God to save him?
Okay.
And then, like, 4 different boats come and try to get the guy instead of going waiting for God to save him. And then he dies and then asks God, what happened? Why didn't you save me? He said, I said 4 guys, you idiot. Why didn't you get over the boat?
So we'll conclude this, and I'll say that, you know, just to step back from the Shabad, this exercise of the Gurmat that we've done a couple workshops on, I hope this is an experience that you enjoy. I know it might seem silly to take a Shabad and turn it into skits, but I also feel like taking that Shabad and bringing it into a current day helps us build that relationship with the Guru. This Shabad is just not words on paper. It's not just something we listen to a Ragi sing for us. It is our daily life. It's our daily life. All we have to do is open our eyes and see, you know, that we're sleeping, that I'm sleeping. You know, we have to see that Guru Sahib is giving us the answer. So the Shabads, they exist all around you. It's just a matter of reaching into our toolbox and remembering what Guru Sahib said. Well, what's the solution for this one? And using the right one at the right time. For me personally, you know, Guru is always sort of distant with me. When I sit and listen in Kirtan sometimes, Guru Sahib feels so far away. But for me personally, when I listen, when I understand, and then sing, or reflect and then sing, that's when the Guru becomes closer. And that's when I feel like this is no longer this distant relationship. This is now a conversation. Yesterday, Gurmat led a workshop for the younger kids where we translated a very simple Shabad, SYANA, I think, and we did a little craft afterwards and explained a few lines of the Shabad. And then last night in the Divan Hall, all of Singh, by chance, sang the same shabad. I looked around and I saw these 2 or 3 little heads pop up. Whoa, you know? And they were excited. Like there was a smile on their face, and they were like just so happy for that moment. And for me, I live for those moments. I live for those moments where there's that light that comes on. I wish I had more of those lights that pop up. And those moments when I get to listen to a shabad and I understand it and reflected upon it, that's when that light lights up. And that to me is when the Guru becomes alive. That's when I can sit, have a conversation, tell them my problems, and listen to the solution. So I hope you all enjoyed it. You know, we had a chance to listen. We had a chance to understand. We had a chance to reflect. I think it's only appropriate that we end it with a chance to sing.
प्रभ खबर न जानी, प्रभ खबर न जानी, सोए रही, सोए रही। और भया बोहर पछतानी, प्रभ खबर न जानी, प्रभ खबर न जानी, सोए रही, सोए रही। प्रिय प्रेम सहज मन अनद धरोरी, प्रिय प्रेम सहज मन अनद प्रभ मिलबे की लालसा, प्रभ मिलबे की लालसा, ताते आलस कहाँ करोरी, ताते आलस कहाँ करोरी। सोए रही, सोए रही, सोए रही, सोए रही। कर्म है अमृत आड़ निसारो, कर्म है अमृत आड़ निसारो, खिसर गयो भूम पर डार्यो, खिसर गयो भूम पर डार्यो। सोए रही, सोए रही, सोए रही, सोए रही। साध मोहे लादी अहंकारे, साध मोहे लादी अहंकारे, दोष नहीं प्रभ कर्ण हारे, दोष नहीं प्रभ कर्ण हारे। सोए रही, सोए रही, सोए रही, सोए रही। साध संग मिटे भरम धारे, साध संग मिटे भरम धारे, सोए रही, सोए रही, सोए रही, सोए रही। प्रभ खबर न जानी, सोए रही। प्रभ खबर न जानी, सोए रही। और भया बोहर पछतानी, और भया बोहर पछतानी। प्रभ खबर न जानी,